Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 6th and tonight's movie is Caveat. This is a 2020 movie directed by Damian McCarthy. There's actually another Damian McCarthy movie on the docket this year. That was an accident, that wasn't intentional. I normally don't intend to do that unless it's something special. Like, for example, there are 3 other movies this year that are all directed by the same person, but that was very much on purpose. The Damian McCarthy movies, that wasn't. This movie is about a drifter who apparently has partial memory loss. That wasn't really mentioned in the trailer, but that is mentioned in all like the promo material, who is taking a job to look after a mentally disturbed young woman in a house on an island in the middle of nowhere. That already sounds incredibly suspicious, but beyond that, he's like wearing a chest harness that prevents him from moving to certain areas of the house. If they just didn't want him in certain rooms, they could have locked those doors instead of chaining him up like a dog. If they just really didn't want him leaving the house, he's already on an island, just don't pick him up until the 2 days are over. It's very obvious they're sending him there to die. The main scare that they show off in the trailer is this like rabbit doll. It could be just a stuffed animal, it could be a real taxidermied rabbit, but it like has this little drum that it plays, and it has these piercing, very human looking eyes. There's a point where it's just playing the drums and it is just glowering at you. This is certainly an interesting premise with a lot of potential, but as always, it's more about how it's done. I'm gonna go check it out. That was certainly an interesting movie. It didn't work quite as well as I thought it could have worked. There were some good moments in there, but there were also some dumb moments. But the ending was strong enough to overall let me give this a thumbs up. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, although there definitely are some problems with the way the story was executed. This was Damian McCarthy's first movie, and I'm gonna be watching his second movie some other time this month, so I'm interested to see where things go. Probably the dumbest thing in this entire movie is the fact that the main character, his name is Isaac, actually agrees of his own free will to put on that harness. And he didn't even need to be like convinced. He started out like very hardline, no, I'm not doing this. And then like a few minutes later, he just agrees to do it. He doesn't even ask for more money. I was expecting there to be like, you have to pay me more if I'm going to do this, but no, he just does it. And I think what they're trying to go for is that he sees the woman, Olga, the young lady, and he like feels bad for her and wants to protect her. I don't know. But considering the fact that not only did his friend Mo not tell him that this house was on an island, even though Isaac can't swim, he also didn't mention the fact that he would need to be chained up with a harness the whole time. For me, that would be immediate grounds to leave. They were not able to present any compelling reason as to why he would take this job. He had to take the job, otherwise we don't have a movie. The acting of the main character, Isaac, was pretty good, but I have to say, it was very distracting because, like, for the first 20 minutes or so, I was looking at this man and I was thinking, like, who does he remind me of? He reminds me of somebody. And then it hit me, with the beard and the hair and, like, even his face shape, he looks like an older version of Jake Paul. You see Isaac with and without the beard, and he definitely looks more like modern Jake Paul with the beard, but when I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. There was also the actress who played Olga, the young woman who lives at the house, and she had a pretty good performance too. According to Wikipedia, the prop design for that wind-up toy rabbit with the drum was done by Lisa Zagone. She did an amazing job. That is one hell of a prop for a horror movie. Most of it comes from the eyes. To begin with, they're front-facing, meaning this rabbit is a predator, and also they're not rabbit eyes. They are definitely human-looking eyes. And the eyes are angled upwards a little bit in relation to the rabbit's head, and the toy is designed so that it's always leaning forward. So basically, its resting stance is looking up at you like it wants you dead. Every scene with that rabbit toy is very effective. I really don't want to go into too much detail about the plot in this part of the review because the revealing of what the plot really is and what it means is part of what makes this movie what it is. But it was messy. Oftentimes, I was kind of confused as to what the movie was really trying to do. Overall, while Caveat was a mixed bag, I do think it came out on top at the end, and I am interested to see Damian McCarthy's next movie later this month. And now I want to talk about a few spoilers. The trailer made me think that this was like a haunted house movie or like something very supernatural, but actually in the movie it was mostly just sort of a mystery. Olga's mom disappeared under mysterious circumstances, at least according to her, and the dad was locked in the basement and used a crossbow to shoot himself because he's claustrophobic. Most of the mystery and intrigue in this movie is about that, but there's also very clearly some kind of supernatural element here. Even forgetting about the creepy rabbit toy, one of the first scares in this movie was Isaac in his room, and there was this like painting on the wall of this little girl holding a rabbit and looking very, very angry. And he like turned it around, and then like he looked away and looked back, and it was turned back to face the other way. And similar things happen a couple times, and then the expression of the painting changes into like something even more angry. The fact that that happened early on in the movie made me think that the supernatural element was going to be very present throughout the whole thing, but really it was mostly just about trying to understand what happened to the parents and the intention of Mo, who is the uncle of Olga, who invited Isaac to look after her, what he was trying to do with all this. And they don't explain it in a straight line. You kind of have to connect the dots yourself. But I will say that the story did contribute to the final scare being as good as it was. The center of all the horror in this movie is the basement. The basement is where Olga's dad died, and they've revealed, like about halfway through the movie, that Olga's mom died because of the dad and uncle, and they just like stuffed her body into a crawl space and put like a piece of drywall over it. And she discovers it by using a drywall saw to carve a hole into that wall and look inside. And by the end of the movie, Isaac is like crawling throughout the crawl spaces trying to escape, and he ends up right next to the dead body of the mother. And while he's trying to use that drywall saw to escape, he like puts his beanie over the dead body's face. And then probably the most well-known scare from this movie is he looks back and suddenly there is a hole in the beanie with an eye looking right through it. And the last scare is Mo, who was revealed to be the main villain of the movie, going back to the island, and he ends up getting locked in the basement. And you see the drywall saw start moving again, someone trying to carve the hole bigger so that they could leave that crawl space. And he assumes that it was Isaac because he saw Isaac there a few moments ago. But then I realized, wait, that's not Isaac doing that. And then a moment later, you hear Isaac's voice on the house's like intercom system saying, "I left, I sent someone to get you." And then everything clicks and the ghost of the dead mom like peeks her head out and you cut away. You don't even know what happened, but I can't imagine it was anything good. Caveat is a movie that has a lot of really good ideas in it, but like doesn't necessarily put them together in the best way. I didn't think it was bad, but it definitely did have some problems. All right, thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.